Hello guys! The Ukrainian armed forces continue to advance in Kursk region of the Russian Federation, liberating more of the Russian territories. But not only that, we've managed to destroy a huge Russian convoy that moved to back up Russian troops but was neutralized with a very accurate, most likely HIMARS strike that led to the destruction of 14 Russian trucks full of good Russians now. And also a serious attack was on Lipetsk military airbase that led to the destruction of at least 700 Russian guided bombs, which means lots and lots of saved Ukrainian lives. It was really loud in Belgorod, and all the Russian people who live close to the front lines are now in panic, sharing more information where the next Ukrainian offensive will start. Something no one could have predicted even a month ago. I'm not saying at the very start of Russia's invasion, but please be always careful what you are wishing for. Russians wanted war, now they got war on their territory too, which actually finally makes it a Russian-Ukrainian war, not just Russians coming to kill Ukrainians on the Ukrainian territory. I'm very happy that our allies support the Ukrainian mission in these bordering regions, as it is the best way to first protect the Ukrainian territory from Russian shellings, and second, to have a good position to start any negotiations. And those who were afraid of Putin's next move, just have a look at how they don't know what to say. And by the way, Russian trolls on the channel did not receive a new methodological recommendation and keep saying this is not happening, when even Putin and Gerasimov say, well, this is happening. So let's have a look at the most important events of this really important day that, since perhaps the 6th of August, changed tremendously the course of Russian war in Ukraine and brought it back to Russia. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and I'm very proud of our special military operation to Kursk. Subscribe to see more of Russian regions liberated and hopefully the collapse of the Kremlin regime sometime soon. Well guys, honestly, I think this video will be a bit longer because I need to speak about all of the achievements we've made in this day. And let's start with a very serious drone attack on the military airbase in Lipetsk, another Russian region that was turned into a war zone, and all because Putin thought he can take Kyiv in 3 days. Well, no. But in the result of Ukrainian drone attacks on Lipetsk, which is approximately 340 kilometers away from the Ukrainian border, we set on fire lots of their evil glided and guided bombs warehouse there. And it is very likely that at least 700 of them were neutralized. What I love is that Russians try to report that they have stopped Ukrainian drones, and in the very same sentence they say that detonation continued for hours. So perhaps they have stopped Ukrainian drones, but with their warehouse full of guided bombs. And this is the best way to defend Ukraine and to defend the world from escalation, because Russia is the only country that continues breaking the laws. And looking at the way they shelled, for example, Ukraine today, this is another reminder that we have very different combat styles. In Russia, moving inside the Russian Federation, we choose military objects, and even looking at the convoy, it's obvious to see that we've destroyed military trucks, but houses, fences, and even those, I don't know how to name it, lampposts with nests of cranes are untouched. But today they targeted Kostiantynivka, a trading center in Ukraine, which only persuades us to be more serious in getting more of the Russian territory. If you ask me why, I will give you an answer later, but I think it's quite obvious. So first of all, there was a serious attack, an extremely successful attack on Lipetsk AIRBASE. By the way, this is also an airfield where they have lots of Su-34, Su-35 and MiG-31. Once again, they use them against Ukraine, and it may be that not all of these aircraft managed to escape. At least nothing like that was visible, and it may happen. So anyway, the guided bombs neutralized, aircraft potentially neutralized, and in total more than 75 Ukrainian drones, as Russian sources say, were flying and doing the job on the territory of Belgorod, for example, and there were some explosions on their military objects and other stuff. Well, war is very hot now in Russia, guys, and that's definitely a very important moment in the way it develops. Now let's come back to my favorite topic indeed, and this is definitely Kursk. Kursk People's Republic, as some of you joke, but no, we don't want Russian territories, we want borders of 1991, and now it seems like Putin also wants the borders of 1991. Once Kursk was actually a Ukrainian land at the very start of the 20th century, it was later occupied and shared between the Soviet Russia and Soviet Ukraine, but let it be. We continue. We may say, just like Russians do that, we are liberating people of Kursk. And Ukrainian troops managed to advance approximately 35 kilometers deep inside the Russian Federation, which is huge, because those of you who follow Russia's offensive in Kharkiv region know that Russians did not manage to move that deep in a month, killing like 20,000 of their soldiers or maybe even more. So of course this is a magic operation of the Ukrainian armed forces, and I'm super grateful that no one knew it is coming. Subscribe to see more of Ukrainian victories and hopefully more of the Russian regions liberated by the Ukrainian armed forces, and please share the videos, that's important, the world has to know. And right now Russia is trying to send more troops, and we are erasing them, because with very accurate, most likely HIMARS strikes, we neutralize their convoys, and there are lots of videos that show these trucks full of neutralized Russians, destroyed weapons, and actually from Russian publics we also know that the Ukrainian armed forces took control over many of Russian armored vehicles, trucks, and maybe even tanks, because they actually report that if you see this tank, if you see this truck, this is no more a Russian truck, it was captured by the Ukrainian armed forces. So that's why, my dear supporters of Russia who often come to such videos in comments, get your news, at least from the Russian sources, and you will see it is happening. Stop pretending it's not. And another Russian military helicopter destroyed with the inexpensive Ukrainian drone. And actually many observers and military analysts claim this is a new technological breakthrough in the course of this war, because we are able to stop evil, huge, very expensive Russian military machines like helicopters, combat helicopters, with inexpensive drones. And this convoy that we managed to stop before it even reached the moving Ukrainian troops, like 30-40 kilometers away from the Ukrainian border, that's huge. And now Russian channels report about the evacuation of people and about new convoys coming, and actually we cannot believe it's happening, because as a person who already lives for 2.5 years in this war, I know you never report about the ways that your convoys or troops are moving, and Russians do it on their TV, so we have to thank them, and maybe tonight more HIMARS strikes will neutralize more Russian convoys. What is happening now in Kursk definitely demonstrates how vulnerable Russia is and how weak Putin's state is. One of the reasons why his miserable population supported him, especially in the recent years, is that they believed he controls everything and he will take care of everything. And now he failed. Not just the protection of the Russian border together with Gerasimov and other people, but even the actions that you have to take when your population is in danger. They did not organize normal evacuation, nothing at all. Mobile operators are not working in Kursk region because of this. We have jokes here inside Ukraine. Actually, there are lots of memes and other stuff. That's a normal reaction, just as it was back in the times of the Second World War. So one of them is that today we have electricity outages in Kursk, Lipetsk and Belgorod regions. The rest of Ukraine will remain with electricity. It is very likely that the Ukrainian troops now control Sudzha gas station. I've spoken about that yesterday. And the mayor of one of the Kursk cities is very much afraid that we are advancing in the direction of Kursk nuclear power plant, which would actually be interesting if we could control it and later exchange it for Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, the largest in Europe, which is now under the control of Russian criminals. Of course, we don't want to do anything to the Kursk nuclear power plant. We simply want to get our Zaporizhzhia back. But that might be a very good reaction. Let me know in the comments below which jokes about this epic failure of Russia you like. One of my favorites recently was a meme, I am sorry, of President Obama, who actually wanted not to escalate in times of Crimea's annexation, where he claims like, please be careful in case of like crossing the Russian border, this can lead to nuclear war or something like that. And then the only reaction that you get from Putin, apart from a very sad face, is actually that they are paying $100 to all people who had to leave the zone of active combat. Like $100, and people are super sad. And like another great difference that I see between my people and the population of Russia, when Russian tanks started moving and they were actually close to the Ukrainian capital, thousands, if not millions of Ukrainians volunteered to protect the motherland. No one was saying, Zelensky, come save us, army, come. No, people were joining like crazy. Territorial defense, Ukrainian armed forces were organizing like these groups to patrol their districts, their houses. People were doing that everywhere. And in Russia, they gather in crowds and they say, Putin, приди, Putin, помоги, which is actually super pathetic and once again demonstrates us why they will never win. They don't have chances. They don't have a civil society. They don't have a real country. They have a criminal gang and lost miserable people who are used to living in this very poor conditions. And I loved one more joke. I'm sorry, but there are many of them and I want to share them. Do you know why the Ukrainian armed forces are moving so quickly inside Russia? Because they do not stop to loot Russian toilets. And that's actually true. And you know, in my previous vlog yesterday, I've reminded you why this is important. Well, first of all, because lots of Russian troops are already taking away from Kharkiv and Donetsk regions. They need to back up Russia. And that's actually where these troops should be located, not in Ukraine, but in Russia. So this is a great way to distract them, to divert them from Ukraine. Another thing, if we dig in and take more of the Kursk territory, it will be easier to exchange it for the Ukrainian territory. And one more thing is to definitely demonstrate the weakness of the Putin's regime and to set some chaos inside Russia. This will definitely be good, and I'm seeing that there are lots of dissatisfaction, and I'm sure around Putin too, not just in Kursk, Belgorod, Lipetsk, Krasnodar, and oh my God, so many Russian regions. War is in Russia. It is official. Finally, it has come to Russia, because as long as all the combat operations, destructions, shellings were happening only on the Ukrainian side, people of Russia were ready to continue this for decades. They were not bothered at all. But now it may be that Putin, being afraid to lose his power, will start thinking how to end this war and to pretend that everything goes according to the plan, but the plan of Ukraine. Because actually, we may say about already 4 very big failures of the second strongest army in Ukraine, I mean the Russian one. First, they failed to take Kyiv as planned. Blitzkrieg totally failed. Then second, Kharkiv counteroffensive when we liberated Kharkiv region, and that was super great. Third, the liberation of Kherson. That was actually the only regional center that they managed to take since the start of the full-scale invasion, and it is liberated and under the control of legitimate Ukrainian government. And now this one. But actually, it is already happening in Russia, in Kursk region. And this is beautiful, this is important. And here in Ukraine, all of our love, admiration, and prayers goes to these super brave Ukrainian soldiers who are now telling to the people of Kursk, learn the Ukrainian anthem, get ready for the referendum. You know, every joke has a part of truth. That's what we say in Ukraine. There are jokes like maybe there are lots of Russians who actually want to be a part of Ukraine because we have YouTube, we have like visa-free regime, we have good Nova Post services and lots of other things. But I'm proud to be Ukrainian. I'm proud of how we fight for our freedom and independence. I assure you, we need 1991 borders. And what we want to demonstrate to Russia is that they also need 1991 borders. Let me know what are your favorite jokes and descriptions, because that's important. In the Second World War, humor meant a lot. And the moment we started laughing at Hitler, he was defeated. Now we are laughing at Putin. Slava Ukraini, and remember to celebrate this victory with our new collection of t-shirts, which appeared in the merch shop, and the link is in the description. F-16s and even Ukrainian embroidery is now available there. Thank you for buying me coffees. I don't know what will happen to this service because there are different rumors, we'll see, but I hope they will not equate Ukraine to Russia or Iran. At the moment, it is still working. Join me as patrons and sponsors of the channel. This is extremely important, and I'm very grateful as it gives me an opportunity to film and write more. And follow me on Instagram, X, Threads, and Discord. I'm really happy and grateful for the community that we have around the channel, and it will be a great joy to discuss more of Ukrainian victories and Russian defeats. We need it for the safety and security of the planet. Slava Ukraini!